Welcome. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining me. My name is Krista Lugo, and I'm excited to talk with you today about asset tracking in general. And we do a lot of these webinars. Some of them are very targeted and very focused on maybe a particular industry or use case or a particular challenge that a lot of our clients and prospects have as they come into implementing Asset Panda. But today we just wanted to talk in general about the full life cycle of our assets and asset management, kind of 101 best practices, the whys, the pain points, and some of those things, and why asset tracking is so important to your business, and some information that we just want to share with you today. So thanks so much for joining. A few things to note. On your webinar control panel, you'll see a questions and a Q&A box. Please feel free to ask any questions as you run through the presentation here, and our team will be able to respond to those and get back to you with answers and information. You'll also see a resources tab on the panel as well, and that's linking you directly to the Asset Panda website, where you can access case studies, white papers, success stories from our clients, and just really get to know a little bit more about our product, who we are, and how we could possibly help you. You can also book a demo through the website as well, so we highly encourage you to do that if that's something that you're interested in. Awesome. There's also a multimedia player, and so if you pay attention to that, make sure that your volume's turned up, that you can see and hear what we're going to be presenting to you today. Awesome. So let's talk about what we're going to go over. Initially, I just want to talk to you, like I said, about asset tracking kind of 101, the basics. What is an asset management system? Why is it important to us? What can Asset Panda do for you in that regard? And talk a little bit about our solution, as well as the benefits to really having a really solid asset tracking plan and asset management plan in place. All right, let's get into some of the details here about what we'll be talking about. So why track our assets? Why is this important? We know it's a tedious job, and that it can be inefficient in some ways unless you have a really great plan in place, like we talked about a moment ago. And we're here to show you a few things that you can do to make this a much more efficient, streamlined, transparent process. It's also super important, obviously, that these assets that we're purchasing for our organizations can be expensive. They need to be maintained. So we'll talk about the full life cycle of the things that we should be concerned about, and the information and the benefits of having a great tracking system. The cons of no tracking. Why would we go without this? Could we get away with not tracking any of these things, or not tracking certain things, and so forth? And my answer to that is always that, again, it boils down to the bottom line. If you're injecting funds into your organization in the form of purchasing these tools and equipment, and you're not tracking those, you have no transparency into the life cycle of these things, future forecasting of purchasing, and you can also, if you're using a spreadsheet, we have a lot of clients that come to us off of spreadsheets. It's very, very common. But at the same time, a lot of hands touch those, and the validity of our data starts to become more questionable over time, based on the fact that that spreadsheet, who knows who updated it last, and is it being updated in real time, etc. So the cons of no tracking really are the fact that you have zero visibility into where your equipment is, who you purchased it from, any warranty dates that might be available to you on those tools or equipment. But in addition, you don't know where they reside, who has them, what condition they're in, and all of the different pieces and moving parts of the life cycle management. So what is an asset management solution? We think here at Asset Panda, and that it is obviously a tool to help you manage these things, but it should be a no-nonsense approach, easy to use. Put it in the hands of the people who are actually responsible for maintaining this equipment, be it, like I said, IT assets, tools, whatever it is that you're tracking in the system in the form of assets. Put the power in the hands of the employees who are actually responsible for that. And one of the things that we think is really, really important about an asset management solution is the ability to work on the go and the ability for the system to work the way that you do. So when you're looking for something, make sure that it functions and that it's a configurable solution, and that it kind of meets your business processes more so than you having to change everything to make sure that you can fit into a box solution. So configurability is really, really important for ease of use, and you'll get better product adoption that way from the team members and your organization who you're going to be leaning on to really making sure that your assets are up to date. But in addition, always be on the lookout to make sure that whatever you select has a really fantastic mobile app, and that you can work on the go. It's so super important these days, especially in our kind of ever-changing remote world. An asset management solution should also run the gamut of acquisition. So where do I get these from? Do I have a list of my vendors? What information do I know about them potentially? And take you all the way through potentially the disposal and end of life of an asset and everything in between for complete and total transparency. What's Asset Panda? I talked about this just a moment ago, but Asset Panda obviously is an asset management solution. And like I said, we have a kind of a no-nonsense approach to asset management. We want to make it easy. We know that there's a lot of nuances and potentially complexities that go into those processes. The easier it is to implement, the easier it is to use, the better information you're going to glean out of that. And there are so many people who in the organization need this information, right? All the way from IT departments to HR departments to finance. My goodness, the reporting for a lot of our clients has really changed the communication from all of these different teams to their finance departments for better reporting and tracking as well. So who really benefits from asset tracking or an asset management system? There's, like I mentioned, this is kind of a good topic of conversation for what we were just discussing about Asset Panda and asset management system, but being able to provide this information back across the organization for better reporting, better accountability and transparency, and then efficiency in the way that we work. So when you implement a really wonderful and asset management system with a holistic approach to saying, okay, from the time we acquire these assets all the way through their life cycle, not only are you benefiting the organization by having really great information and data to forecast out future purchasing decisions, to understand the company's liabilities, to understand, obviously, costs associated with those things, and be able to give all this information back to other organizations. But you're also benefiting the people who are responsible and tasked with this on a day in, day out basis. Let's make it really easy on them and to ask them to do what we're asking of our teams to actually maintain and update this information. So across the organization, you benefit from executive leadership who are looking at reports and making decisions, all the way to the people who are out in the field or out on the floor and are making these updates to the system. Make it easy on them to help and to be a part of the responsibility. It can be quite a tedious task, and so, like I said, the easier we make it, the more benefit we all get from that. But not only just the people, but let's talk about the industries. Let's talk about industries that benefit from this. If you have items that you are purchasing for your business, you have assets and you have a need to track those. And so our approach to the market, and specifically Asset Panda, isn't necessarily industry specific. We have a very, very wide variety and a broad market of clients who use Asset Panda in many, many industries. And so it's not a specific, asset tracking isn't specific to a particular industry, although we do see some industries that come off of spreadsheets and or who are migrating to us from other solutions who really benefit from the flexibility of a tool like Asset Panda, specifically the configurability and the mobile app, and the fact that Asset Panda is an unlimited user model. So when you sign up for Asset Panda, it is as many users as you need and as you want to put in the system, which really helps organizations have the control and the ability to put this tool in the hands of a lot of people to help manage and maintain this stuff. So we've experienced a lot of success moving a lot of construction companies and schools, healthcare organizations, you name it, into Asset Panda, moving them off of spreadsheets and in other systems. But people and companies who have a lot of process around their assets and the asset management life cycle tend to really see a tremendous amount of value in a system like Asset Panda because of the configurability of your workflow, right? So again, we were talking earlier about the concept of ensuring that whatever system you choose as you're navigating and thinking about implementing a tool, that it really marries it to your business processes. Again, it's going to ease product adoption with your teams. You're asking them to do some of this work. And so companies who have a lot of workflow tend to find a lot of success with Asset Panda because of the fact that it can really match your business processes and ensure that all of the steps of the asset management lifecycle are accounted for. So if we start thinking about the asset lifecycle in general, the things that we would want to track, and why is it so important to go beyond a simple scan in and check out system? Sure, that's definitely part of it and a very critical and important part of it. But what about all the information that we should be capturing about these items, right, that help us make better business decisions? So things like the acquisition. So if we start from the very top of acquiring an asset, what information are we tracking about our vendor? Are we tracking spend? Our company spend to a particular vendor over a year's time, for example, or any range of time? Are we tracking repairs, right? So let's say we've acquired this asset. Do we understand and know what purchase order it came from, the vendor, the cost, any warranty information? Are we tracking those pieces of information in a way that's useful and helpful to all areas of the business who are responsible for those things? And can we reconcile our purchases and the assets that we have back to those purchase orders and be able to give finance back some really good information to make some better business decisions. So the acquisition piece of that first and foremost, and then we put it into we put it into production. So once we do that, things get lost. And that happens often. It happens often. We see it all the time for clients coming in and implementing a solution. So how are we tracking the whereabouts? So this is where that check-in, check-out thing becomes really important, right? But and that we have the ability to quickly and easily scan an item. That brings me to just another quick thought. When you're selecting an asset tracking system, make sure that the mobile app has a barcode scanner built into it for ease of use. We don't want to go out and purchase a bunch of additional hardware for no reason. Your smartphone can do all of these things for you. Check out the Asset Panda mobile app when you hopefully get a demo of the system and set up a trial account with one of our sales reps. So going back to the conversation of once I've acquired this, I've put it into production. Do I know who has it? Do I know where it is? Do I know if it's moving somewhere? If there's a logistics piece to your process where you're doing a send receive, Are you confirming and validating in the system that this person has actually received that item, it's now in their possession, they're responsible for it? Or if tools are going out to a job site, how long do we anticipate those tools to go out and stay there and be there so that we can properly forecast other upcoming work that we need to do? In addition, what happens when things break down, right? Equipment breaks, maybe our remote employees have issues with their laptop. How are we communicating that in an easy to track and manage way? So our teams who are supposed to be helping them, right, have the information that they need to quickly ensure that our employees are getting back up to speed. And the benefit here is obviously that downtime on the clock, right? We want to make sure that we alleviate that as much as possible. So there's a lot of you think about asset management, asset tracking, and we go to the basics, like let's understand who has what and what location it's in, etc. But then when we talk about things like employee downtime, we're talking about the dollars and the actual bottom line of the business that's impacted if we don't have good systems and communication in place to help alleviate some of these problems, right? So in a great asset management solution, if I have this laptop, for example, right, I need an easy and quick way to be able to tell my team, hey, this piece of equipment needs to be repaired, I'm having issues, and then we can track all the way from swapping out that equipment to creating the work order or the ticket for our team that's responsible for getting that remediated and or making a decision about the potential end of life of that asset at that point in time. We can start to track and understand the propensity for an asset to need to be repaired over how many times before it reaches end of life. Or maybe over time, do we have better luck, for lack of better words, with some types of equipment, manufacturers and so forth, than we do with others? Based on the fact that we're reporting and updating the assets themselves about that repair history. And so we can start to formalize and make better business decisions about our purchases. And then once we go through the life cycle, maybe equipment needs to be maintained. Maybe you need scheduled maintenance, for example. Being able to see those on a calendar in the system and manage that recurring process is really important, right? Making sure that we're taking the best care of our equipment to ensure its longevity and its safety too. And we know that there's a lot of liability that can potentially go along with that. Moving from that process and that stage in the process of the check-in, check-out, so the transferring of equipment, being able to see it change hands, move, and track the life cycle as it relates to repairs, and getting these items back in production in a condition that's where they're useful. Maintenance and scheduled maintenance, right? But anything else that happens to the asset is vitally important, and it's important information that we have. And then moving into saying, okay, let's make a decision about if this item is going to get disposed of, right? And then being able to track reason codes associated with those disposals. Once again, it all kind of boils down to what information do we have that can better prepare us in the future and or help us right now make better business decisions. So of course, taking the items from disposed to storing them in a repository of historical data and archiving those assets, but still having the ability to pull back that information should we need to and report on that. So I know that's a lot of information, but we want to make sure that you understand that each one of these things is super, super important, and there's a tremendous amount of value in tracking each and every piece of this. Asset Panda, obviously, like I mentioned, has the ability to configure, it's configurable, so we can pair your workflow, particularly what we just talked about, the full asset life cycle in the system through a series of actions and in Asset Panda to help you manage each one of those steps of the process and have a really great and clear visibility into that. And we talked a bit about managing in a remote world, right? This is very, very important in today, and we anticipate this to be, kind of future state as well. That mobile app is just incredibly important to this piece of the process, right? And if you're putting equipment in the hands of your employees, it's leaving, it's walking off site, it's in homes and things like this. The really important piece of this is the idea that there's an unlimited user model where you can literally give each person a role-based permission set where they can log in, see what they need to see, maybe not everything, depending on your particular situation, but make it easy on them to just see the information, understand what they need to do, and be able to help execute those things for better tracking. But because of that unlimited model, you can put the mobile app in the hands of all of your employees. And I think that's really, really important in a remote environment, is that mobile app piece. So let's talk about the why. Why is this so important? We talked earlier about just kind of the fundamentals and basics of and the fact that each asset and the collection of those represents money spent by the organization, and it's worth it to be tracked. But asset tracking in general, why is having a system and a tool in place so important for us? It saves us a tremendous amount of time. The efficiencies that you can build into your asset management platform are really critical and important. We want our employees focused on the work and the tasks at hand that can help drive our business forward, not caught up in administrative tasks that we can really, really alleviate a lot of the busy work around, right? And having a great system in place to do that, and to do it really easily and quickly, really helps save our clients time. A lot of our clients report saving 5 hours. One employee can save 5 hours a week in time that they would have normally been fumbling through a spreadsheet, going actually to a particular location to try to find something, right? When a great system will tell you the item's whereabouts, where it is, and how to manage it going forward. There's also the concept of performing audits and of really, truing up your data on occasion. I know we have a fantastic audit feature in the software that makes this really, really easy and easy to do on the go. Again, you can assign audits out to individual employees at particular locations, and they can simply scan the items on the mobile app and be done with it. A lot of clients' audits and inventory, when they take inventory at year end, right, it takes a month potentially. If you put it in the hands of the people on those locations with the mobile app, you can really cut those audit times down to a matter of potentially weeks, depending on how many assets you have. So we've seen a tremendous amount of success there in saving our clients time. Saving money, right? Like I mentioned earlier, having the ability to forecast out future purchases based on what we know about our current assets and the replenishment cycle of those. So obviously being able to have transparency into those processes, but also having transparency to knowing where our things reside, where do our things reside, where are they sitting, and ensuring that we don't have assets walking off, never coming back, never to be found again. Lost stolen items equal lost revenue, lost profit on your books. And then how can we streamline the way that we work? We talked about this with the mobile app a bit, but also this goes back to implementing a process and through an asset management tool that really supports and fits your business need, and making it super specific to your business processes, and then having the ability to have it extensible to other processes as you move along and you adopt a product, that to understand that there are additional features, additional benefits in the application that can help you continue to utilize a tool in a way that it's extensible to your organization and helps you do not just the basic asset management, but all of the processes surrounding that. Like I mentioned earlier, understanding our vendors, so doing a bit of the vendor management piece of this as well, procuring those items and understanding the information about those purchases, understanding the full life cycle of when these what's happening to these things while they're in production, and then all the way through to making decisions about what needs to be disposed of and not kept as a liability on our balance sheets. So that being said, streamlining the way that we work has so much to do with implementing really great processes into your asset management platform. All right, so a big thank you to you for watching today's presentation and talking about just asset tracking in general, and talking about Asset Panda and how we hope we can help you as you're researching systems. And hopefully a takeaway from today is that we've talked about the benefit of implementing an asset management platform, and you feel compelled to check us out as a viable option and solution for you. So learn more about what Asset Panda can offer you. Visit the Asset Panda website, assetpanda.com. There's a link to book a demo with one of our fantastic specialists, and they will be in touch. I hope you asked a lot of questions as well. We will be in touch with answers on that, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks again for joining today. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about asset management and an asset management platform. We hope, and obviously Asset Panda letting me get to talk a little bit about that too. So I hope that this was compelling enough for you to come check out our website, assetpanda.com. You can book a demo. There's also a fantastic demo video of Asset Panda, high-level overview of the system itself. If you're interested in watching that, it's on our YouTube channel. So just type in Asset Panda demo, and you will be able to take a peek at that and contact one of our reps for more information, and hopefully to help you get started implementing your asset management program. And we hope we get to talk to you really soon. Thanks again for joining. Have a wonderful day.